Ean-Paul Getty's story is a classic American tale of great wealth and its challenges. It started not with his peak wealth, but from the beginning, driven by ambition, smart business moves, and personal struggles alongside his financial success. Getty, born into a regular family, is an example of the American dream. His dad, George Getty, was first a lawyer, then entered the oil business, setting up what would become a family empire. Young Ean-Paul, interested in his dad's work, had a strong business mind and a bigger drive for success than others his age. A key moment was when Ean-Paul used $10,000 from his dad to start his own journey in the oil industry. He put this money into oil fields in Oklahoma, a risky move that paid off big and put Getty on the path to becoming a top name in oil. As Getty got richer, his goals got bigger. He wanted to rule the oil world, not just succeed in it. He made bold, unusual choices and wasn't afraid to take risks. He expanded his business outside the U.S., especially into the Middle East, greatly increasing his wealth. Getty had a special talent for picking the right oil fields and soon became the richest man in America. The price of wealth. Getty kept chasing money, but finding true love was hard for him. He married 5 times, showing how tough it is to have both fame and happiness. Each marriage, starting with Jeannette Dumont in 1923, ended like a story in a book, full of problems and sadness. His marriages showed the big contrast in his life. He could get anything he wanted, but couldn't keep his wife's love. His last marriage to Louise Lynch also failed, showing how Getty's life was always troubled. Every time a marriage failed, it hurt Getty. As he got richer, the gap between his public image and private life grew. Even with all his money, he felt alone and couldn't fix his personal problems or buy real love. But does money really make up for not having close relationships? And when does having lots of money start to hurt one's personal life? Ean-Paul Getty Jr.'s downfall. Ean-Paul Getty Jr., or Paul Jr., chose a very different life from his famous father. Born into wealth and expected to take over the Getty business, he first seemed to enjoy a life of luxury and big hopes. However, hidden under this rich lifestyle were problems and sad times. In 1960s Italy, Paul Jr.'s life changed a lot. He married Gail Harris in 1956, starting a path away from his father's business world. Italy's free-spirited culture was a big change from the strict life of a Getty heir. Paul's life changed even more when he married Talitha Paul, a model and actress. Their life was full of fancy parties and famous people, but also drug use. This lifestyle upset Paul Sr. a lot, and he gave his son a tough choice, which only pushed Paul Jr. away more. Tragedy hit when Talitha overdosed in 1971. This sad event deeply hurt Paul Jr., leading him into sadness and addiction. This was very different from his father, who was a disciplined businessman. This makes us think, what happens to a family when having too much money becomes a problem and not a good thing? The tragic fate of George Franklin Getty II. George Franklin Getty II, Ean-Paul Getty's eldest son, grew up under huge expectations. Unlike his brother Paul Jr., George's challenge was to meet the Getty family standards, a tough journey with its own problems. George and his dad had a complicated, distant relationship. Even as the executive vice president and COO of Getty Oil, George was often outshined by his dad. Ean-Paul Getty didn't really believe in his son's business skills, making George feel like just a figurehead in the company, hurting his self-esteem and sense of purpose. This difficult relationship with his dad really affected George. On the outside, he looked like a successful businessman, but inside, he felt not good enough and alone. Trying to cope, he turned to substance abuse, trying to escape the stress of being a Getty. Everything came to a tragic end on June 6, 1973. After a big fight with his wife, George's life fell apart. Alone in his room, surrounded by wealth but filled with despair, he lost to his inner struggles. That night ended in George's sad suicide, showing the harsh impact of unmet expectations and hidden pain despite seeming success. As the Getty family felt with losing George, they faced a big question. What is the real price of their wealth? Amid their luxury and fame, the family story revealed more about their complex fate. The kidnapping of John Paul Getty III. In 1973, the Getty family faced a shocking event, the kidnapping of John Paul Getty III, also known as Paul III. This scary incident not only upset the Getty family, but also caught the world's attention, showing how even great wealth can bring risks. Paul III, the grandson of Jean-Paul Getty, was in Italy when he was taken. At first, the family didn't believe it because Paul III had once joked about faking a kidnapping to get money from his rich grandfather. But as they realized it was true, the Gettys were thrown into a terrible situation. The kidnappers wanted a huge ransom of $17 million. Jean-Paul Getty, known for being careful with money, refused to pay, worried it might put his other grandchildren in danger. This shocked and upset many people. Things got worse when the kidnappers sent a lock of hair in Paul III's ear, showing they were serious. This gruesome act made the Gettys rethink their decision. They finally paid a smaller ransom, but Paul III was deeply hurt by the kidnapping and his grandfather's initial refusal to help. After this, the Gettys had to think about the real cost of their wealth. They were very rich, but it didn't protect them from tragedy. What then was the true price of their fortune? The legacy. The Getty family, known for their huge wealth, faced many internal conflicts and complicated relationships, especially after the death of their leader, Jean-Paul Getty, in 1976. His death started a fight over his big fortune. He left most of his money to the J. Paul Getty Museum, but there was still a lot of personal wealth to argue over. This personal wealth was mostly in a trust set up by Paul's mom in the 1930s, controlling a big part of Getty Oil. The trust's only trustee was Paul's son, Gordon Getty, who became the center of family chaos. In 1984, Gordon sold Getty Oil to Texaco for over $10 billion, leading to a big legal fight in the family. He used the trust to pay taxes from the sale and gave $750 million each to his brother and nieces. But this left many family members feeling they didn't get enough, causing lots of lawsuits. These legal fights showed deep splits in the family, with relatives arguing over the trust and what they should get. During this time, a shocking fact came out. Gordon Getty had another secret family. He had 3 daughters with a woman named Cynthia Beck. This was surprising to both the family and the public, revealing personal details about the Gettys. Gordon's secret life and the harsh fights over inheritance show a family where wealth brought as much trouble as luxury. As the Getty story went on, it was clear their fortune was like opening Pandora's box, bringing unexpected problems and challenges. It makes everyone wonder how a family deals with such a legacy and what future awaits the next generation, born into a story they didn't start. The continuing curse. The tragic narrative of the Getty family extended well beyond the initial generations, as the so-called Getty curse seemed to persist. Andrew Getty, grandson of Jean-Paul Getty, met a mysterious and untimely end at the age of 47. His death in 2015 in his Los Angeles home was shrouded in circumstances that only fueled the lore of the family curse. Despite his apparent efforts to seek medical help for prolonged illness, his life ended abruptly, found in a state that pointed towards a long struggle with personal demons. John Gilbert Getty, another heir to the family fortune, faced a similar fate. His life, cut short at the age of 52, echoed the tragedies that had become all too familiar in the Getty lineage. Found in a San Antonio hotel room, his death in 2020 left many questions unanswered, but the hints of a struggle with substance abuse added to the narrative of a family continuously battling its own wealth-induced downfalls. The deaths of Andrew and John Gilbert were not just personal tragedies. They were the latest chapters in the ongoing saga of a family that, despite its immense wealth, could not escape a cycle of personal struggles and tragedies. The Getty curse, a term that had come to define the family's legacy, seemed to be an inescapable part of their story, a narrative woven deeply into the fabric of their lives. Each generation of the Getty family has faced its own challenges, painting a picture of a legacy that is as complex as it is affluent. Balthazar Getty's struggles and triumph. Balthazar Getty's life story offers a glimmer of hope in the often dark narrative of the Getty family. His journey, marked by early success, personal struggles, and eventual triumph, stands as a testament to the possibility of overcoming the burdens of a legacy steeped in tragedy and controversy. As the son of John-Paul Getty III, Balthazar was born into a world of wealth and privilege, but also into a family history shadowed by misfortune. His early foray into the world of acting brought him success at a young age. Starring in the 1990 adaptation of Lord of the Flies, he quickly made a name for himself, stepping out of the long shadow cast by his family name. His career flourished with roles in notable films like Young Guns 2 and Lost Highway, marking him as a rising star in Hollywood. However, Balthazar's journey was not without its hurdles. His youth was marred by the struggles associated with his family's legacy, leading him down a path of personal turmoil. The pressure of living up to the Getty name, combined with the challenges of early fame, drove him to a lifestyle of excess and rebellion. His struggles with substance abuse and a highly publicized affair echoed the familiar pattern of personal battles faced by many Gettys before him. But Balthazar's story took a turn for the better, illustrating that the so-called Getty curse was not an inescapable fate. He confronted his demons, dealing with his substance abuse issues and repairing his personal life. His reconciliation with his wife after the end of his affair and his renewed commitment to his family marked a significant shift in his life narrative. Balthazar's resurgence in his acting career with steady roles in series like Brothers and Sisters and Alias showed a man who had learned from his past and was determined to forge a different path. His journey reflects the resilience and strength that can emerge even in the most challenging circumstances, offering a hopeful counterpoint to the often tragic stories of his predecessors. Balthazar Getty's story is one of redemption and renewal, a reminder that the chains of a challenging legacy can be broken. His life serves as an inspiration, a beacon of hope in the complex tapestry of the Getty family saga. As the family narrative continues to unfold, it becomes evident that each generation has the power to redefine their destiny, offering new chapters of resilience and transformation in the enduring legacy of the Gettys. Changing perceptions. Now, they are on a mission to change how the world sees the Getty name, not through wealth or business, but through giving back and helping others. Adrienne, the granddaughter of Jean-Paul Getty, stands out for her efforts to use the family's fortune for good. She's not just about holding on to the family's riches, she's about making a real difference. She and her children, Nats and August, are determined to show that the Getty family can be known for kindness and helping those in need. They've put their energy and resources into causes that matter. Ariadne has been especially active in supporting LGBTQ rights. In 2018, she promised $15 million to LGBTQ rights groups, showing her commitment to these causes. Her work doesn't stop there. She's also part of the Better World Fund, which helps refugees and fights for gender equality. Nats and August, her children, are also making their mark. They're proudly gay and use their voices to support LGBTQ communities. They're proving that being a Getty isn't just about wealth, it's about using their position to make a positive impact. The family's turn towards philanthropy and activism marks a significant shift in the Getty legacy. It's a move away from the struggles and tragedies of the past towards a future where the family name is associated with kindness, generosity, and making the world a better place. And that brings us to the end of our journey through the remarkable, tumultuous, and ultimately transformative story of the Getty family. Please like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.